Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the CJRB full titanium Tundra. We have the budget Tundra. I've reviewed that one where it's G10 and is it D2? I can't remember. That one's about $70. I'll have that link down there as well as this guy here. This is the premium one in titanium and S35VN and is really, it's one of the most perfect knives for that type of person. I kind of identify with this type of person. You want to carry a big, meaty, chunky, like overbuilt style knife, but you don't want to deal with the excessive insanity of a lot of the overbuilt knives that we have on, today's market. I own a lot of stuff that it's so hilariously overbuilt and thick that it's fun, but I don't want to actually put it in my pocket. This is, in my opinion, it's right there on the line where it gives you that same feeling, but you can actually pocket it, assuming you're wearing the right pants and probably a belt. This knife is not marketed as, I'm not going to confuse it for a knife that can rival the strength of the Triad Lock or the Atlas Lock. So if you're rushing down to the comments to inform me that it's not really as strong, don't waste your time because I'm aware of it. I think everybody who would be interested in buying something like this is also aware of it. It is a big, super robust titanium frame lock that does come with this extra screw-in pin. I removed the lanyard before I started carrying it because there's no way I was going to carry that big lanyard right. And it's something that you can attach right here, which stops the knife from being able to disengage easily. Just like if you're, I don't know what you would be doing with it, right? But it adds an additional point of contact that mitigates more of the force away from the pivot and frame lock and the stop pin that's attached back here, making it, in all reality, slightly more durable than a regular titanium frame lock, right? So don't go out and assume that this is baton mode engaged or anything like that, but it is a very robust titanium frame lock. So thank you so much to CJRB for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. I'll have this link down in the description. Make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. We're going to go pretty quick here because it's essentially the same knife as the G10 version. It's just titanium now. Blade length, overall length is coming in at almost 9 inches, 8.85. Blade length is coming in at about 3.9. Cutting edge is coming in at 3.65. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against my own Excalibur, large and small, you can see it's quite a bit larger. I'm actually going to do, where is it? Yeah, this knife is very similar in size. It's a little bigger, but like the AD10 is a good example here. And this is a big, like if you're going for all the way around a knife that is like reasonably pocketable, right? As far as big knives go, like this is a knife that I'd still carry, but you also want it to have like absurd strength, like true overbuilt lock strength. Get an AD10 from Cold Steel. I mean, like that is that kind of perfect, like, it's huge, but it's still justifiably carryable, right? But it also is backed up by an insanely strong locking system that does not require you to put an additional pin in here. But it is kind of a clunky back lock and it's not nearly as satisfying to deploy. This is a titanium frame lock that has all the cool modern stuff, has the detent. You got that, that frame lock there. You can turn it, do the little drop shut thing. You can open it with the thumb stud there. You've got the detent. It just feels better, right? And you're not planning on manually disassembling a helicopter engine with the thing, then you're probably going to be okay. But anyways, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca, and then just wrap it up right there because I think you guys get it. It is big. How is the action? Just like I demonstrated, it's actually really good. I got to give it to CJRB here. CJRB and Artisan Cutlery over the last couple of years have been feeling like they're not really making much progress on their action. Like their action felt fine like 4 or 5 years ago. And then it seemed like a lot of other companies, I'm talking about their bearing action smoothness. A lot of other companies just were getting better and better and better and eliminating all of that those micro bumps and lumps and crunches and things, right? And CJRB, and Artisan Cutlery still doing fine. They just weren't completely eliminating it. This feels really good. The action on the inside of this feels really nice, and so does the pivot action. I'm going to be honest with you. if we didn't have this giveaway piece of hardware right here, and maybe if you changed out all the hardware and you took the logo off of there, I'm not sure that I'd be able to immediately identify this as a CJRB. I'd be like, God, I don't know. This, I mean, it feels almost like somebody like Vosti made it, or Bestech, right? Now, I've always considered them to be in a higher tier than Artisan Keller and CJRB, but this feels really good, and I mean that as a compliment. You know, I really like it. I think the action feels awesome, and access to the lock bar is good. The detent feels really good. Everything, the pivot action, there's no bumps or lumps or anything in there, right? So really cool, really good quality control there. Let's go ahead and do carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. This is amongst knives that I would label as overbuilt, not in terms of like lock strength, but mainly just in terms of like thickness of material, right? It is easier than a lot of them to a lot of those knives on the market to carry, but it is still not going to be an easy knife to carry. It is quite a bit thicker than the Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Obviously, this is a pocket hog. Probably going to be the only thing you are carrying in whatever pocket you choose to put this in. You can actually, this is a right or left-handed mount. You can put it in left or right-hand pocket because the pocket clip can be mounted over here. So, but anyways, yeah, it's a big one. And to drive that point home, let's weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? Titanium and S35VN, which, by the way, they are heat treating to 60 to 62 HRC. Very good. I am very happy with that. I have no complaints. And on a knife like this, a big, robust knife, I don't want S90V or M390. I don't want that. I want a steel that's got a better balance, geared more towards toughness, right? Because this is the type of thing that's likely going to be thrown around a little bit more. Probably not. I mean, it shouldn't be abused, right? But if I'm going to use this the way that I assume it's intended to be used, it might be used for a little bit more heavy-duty cutting, and a steel like S30V just makes a little more sense. So, anyways, it weighs, holy crap, 9.1 ounces. That's a lot. That's about 3 ounces over the line for me. I kind of like to cap it out at 6 to 6.5 ounces, and then, you know, past that point, it just gets kind of ridiculous. So, if you're used to carrying big, crazy, thick, heavy knives, maybe it won't be that big of a deal, but like, for example, this knife is about the biggest that I will even attempt to stomach, like for long period, like multiple days in a row. And it weighs less. The full titanium, the standard AD10 does not weigh this much because it's G10. But this version with these original GOAT titanium scales weighs a little less, right? So this weighs even more than that. So anyways, let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. This is a T8, and that's great for the pivot. Honestly, on a knife like this, why not go like, you know, T20? Like, just go nuts with it, right? I mean, you got this weird stuff back here. These two screws right here are T8, and then we got these pokeball screws that I don't like. It's gonna be like a oh, what is it in there? Is it a hex? Let's look at it. Stupid screws. I do not like these. It's not going to be a hex. It's literally just going to be like a long, you can use a penny or whatever. But I think the inside of these might actually be, if they're not perfectly circular, they might actually be hex. Hold on, let's take a look. It does kind of look like it might be something else, but I don't know. Maybe we could try a bigger bit here and see if it wants to go in there. That still wants to spin. That doesn't even want to go in. So, no. It's going to be kind of annoying to take that off. I don't like this hardware, even if there is like an easy way to do it. Artisan Keller, I think you guys should ditch these, and you should start manufacturing some, like, if you're going to continue to make like these cool, like bulky knives, make some hardware to match with it and get rid of this. Make this like at least a T15. Like, go with like oversized hardware. I mean, some examples, some of these other companies, like on the Microtech knives, like some of their, I think it's the, like on the MSI, the Stitch, the Amphibian, and the SOCOM, like have these big T20 or even T25 pivots, and they look awesome. And they match those knives, and those knives aren't even as bulky as this. Maybe the Stitch, right, is kind of climbing up there. But ditch this stuff. Like, I mean, there are ways to make your hardware look cool and still accept a standard Torx bit. That's what most people are going to prefer. People don't want to, on a knife, we really don't want to see flat heads, Phillips heads. We don't even want to see hex heads most of the time. We definitely don't like proprietary hardware unless it's some kind of crazy custom and that's what the customer is asking for. Most of the time, we want the simple convenience of, and the safety, honestly, of a Torx head. So I think that's what you guys should do. But anyways, it still won't be that difficult to take apart. It's just kind of annoying. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's measure the blade stock thickness. How thick is this? I don't think it's quite a 1/4 inch. I think it's probably about 1/5 of an inch. XM24 size. Yeah, 190 thousandths there. So thick, but not insane. Meat and potatoes time. Boy, you hold this knife and you're like, that's a knife. Like, if you were to get this out and show it to another knife, you know, like if you got a buddy who like doesn't know a lot about the different brands and materials, but he likes knives, you hand this thing off to him, he's gonna be like, gee, wow, that is a knife. And it feels good. Like it feels like it was designed, you know, to be used, except for the jimping. CJRB, the jimping here is like, it's just decorative. It's so slippery. Give us jimping, right? If I, you know, were to take this out and cut continuously with it, do I think that it would still be comfortable after, say, 15 minutes? I think this area might wear on you a little bit, right? I mean, you're holding onto a big titanium brick, but it's not sharp. And I think, honestly, the blade is relatively medium. I don't want to say thin. I would say it's, you know, it's thinner than you would expect for a knife like this. I think the cutting geometry on this knife is, give me the piece of paper. This thing is just not wanting to relent that paper. But yeah, like it does want to bite pretty easily. The factory edge on this is pretty good, and the geometry is quite a bit thinner than I think anybody would expect for a knife like this. I mean, it does start to drop, like the bevel before the cutting bevel starts to drop way up here, so it's got plenty of room. Definitely thinner behind the edge than something like the XM24 that has the same blade stock thickness. Really not bad. And it's a pretty utilitarian drop point blade. Lots of material out here. Very durable tip. Lots of thickness. Held on way out here. Love the swedge. I mean, I've seen this blade shape many times. It's almost like a spade, right? But I think the geometry is pretty heavy duty. I think that it's going to handle a lot of stuff than a much thinner pocket knife, a much more dainty pocket knife would not handle, but still not things like slamming the spine against something to see if you can get the lock bar to disengage. That's a stupid thing to do. Right? I'm talking about still things that you would do within the realm of normal knife stuff. Right? It's just got, everything is just more robust about this knife. The thumb studs, we didn't really talk about. Well, we did kind of talk about the action. We talked about mostly in reference to the flipper tab. I do like they put a hole in there. I think that's cool. The thumb studs are not comfortable to use. They've got this like bowl thing, and then these are like angry. It's like an angry spool. It's just not. It's not comfortable to use. But if I was in gloves, which I can actually demonstrate, because I have these here for when I have to dig through the tetanus pile that is that TSA confiscated knives box behind me, in gloves, I think that that's probably what this was intended for. This is actually very, very easy to manipulate with gloves, and that feels a lot more reasonable. I feel like it was intended. I'm trying to reverse flick it. I can't. I think it was intended, like these big thumb studs, you're intended to be able to locate them and easily deploy the knife while wearing gloves. In that sense, yeah, I think it makes sense, right? I think that's pretty cool. But deploying this knife barehanded, I would only use the flipper tab. Let's take a look at the plunge grind. Actually, not bad. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a pretty good plunge grind on a big, crazy knife like this. Where's the stop pin? Oh, it's tucked way back there. Look at the size of that stop pin. This big, this giant freaking cannon of a stop pin back there. That makes sense because that's a lot. I mean, you're slamming this big chunk of S35VN repeatedly into that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Having it shouldered and having it big like that, I think that's a good idea. I like there's a little bit of like Medford texture. There's a little Medford in here. I think that the Tundra and the Proponent, like when the Proponent came out, everyone was like, they copied Medford. Medford owns all the ovals. You can't take ovals from Medford. And it was also big. And back then it was like Medford was like the only person making the big, angry, thick knives, right? And now they're like all over the place. So yeah, it's got some of that texturing. It looks kind of cool. I mean, it might kind of offer a little bit of additional traction, not much. I'm just really disappointed in the jimping here. It doesn't make any sense when the rest of the knife feels pretty good. In and out of the pocket clip is long and it's huge. Not much of an ergonomic hotspot, and you know, it's kind of tight, but it worked in and out of the pocket. It was not terrible. So, okay. You can probably attach a little tiny lanyard in there if you want to. I don't know. Some people might not want to. You might want to just attach it to the pocket clip. We already kind of talked about the stop pin. No hint of blade play up, down, left to right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Very smooth and consistent for what I normally expect from CJRB. Nice detent for the size of knife, and it's perfectly centered. What does this knife come in at? $212. For what it is, what it's made out of, how well it's made, the amount of material involved, yeah, I'm not mad about this. But specifically, this is for people who want that, got a knife, like the big, heavy, like if you pick up a heavy knife and you're like, I like that. I can't explain why, but the cave person inside of me likes the heft and solidity of this big, chunky knife. I think you'll like this, and I think that this is still a reasonable sized big knife, right? Like there's knives that like people have to force themselves to, they gotta lie to themselves to be, like the Espada XL. I think all of us have seen that video, that guy that's like got the Espada XL in his pocket. He's like, I just like to carry big knives. That guy wakes up and lies to himself every single day before he puts that thing in his pocket. Anybody else who carries that knife daily and says, oh yeah, it's totally fine. I've gotten used to it. You're lying to yourself. You're lying. Every step you take, that big old thing flopping around. No way. I think there are people who carry like big, like the size of the XM24 up to, around that size that can carry it and get used to it, right? I think that this is a more reasonable, like it'll be like, gee, that's a big knife, but you can adapt to it. Too much bigger than this, like the Micron Geddon or like the PMP, like this freaking thing, the PMP Ultimate Alpha Beast. No. Absolutely not. You're not going to adapt to that. You can still carry it and enjoy it, but there's never going to be a day where you're like, oh, forgot I was carrying that. No way. This you could adapt to. People looking for the big overbuilt premium titanium knife, and maybe you like the flipper, right? This is a pretty good buy. I think it's fine for those people, right? For people looking for a smaller, compact, practical knife with normal cutting geometry that they can use daily and kind of switch out between their jeans or their your regular pants, your workout pants or athletics, whatever. Obviously not, right? So recommendable to that specific crowd. For other people, probably going to be a little bit too big. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.